Well, nice to meet you all. I think I'm not sure where everybody's from, like from the technicians, developers, probably all kinds of high-tech stuff. I'm not, I don't know anything about, so I'm going to do a little bit of a different presentation. Not so much a presentation, but just talk a little bit about myself. I come from art. I studied fine art and I studied philosophy. And so I used a mixture, and that's also why I didn't really make a presentation, because whatever I do, I always start reflecting on myself, and then, you know, you step out of yourself and look at yourself while you're doing it. So I would do it right now, and I forget all the things I've been practicing to say, and it goes all wrong. And there's a point to that, because it's a very important aspect in my work, but I think it's also a very important aspect in social AR, and when the big companies are talking about things like metaverse, and what is lacking with those often is the same kind of feeling that you're sort of disembodied looking from the outside, and you don't feel, nobody has felt in a metaverse yet, I gather, or is anybody comfortable there and happy? And I don't think so. So, you know, I think the same thing is happening. So I will start with the maybe this is a nice illustration of what I've been saying. I'm sort of locked here in a kind of metaverse, like you have the technology and the design, so I'm thinking as a designer how to make this thing, but then the actual person is inside of it, locked in this paper, and that's the self-expression part. How are you going to, you know, what are the real people going to do with the experiences you create? How are they going to feel? Why would they use it? And things like this. So much of my work is about the break between these two. It starts. This is my first work, and I'm showing it because I think it's my first augmented work. It's not, it was way before augmented reality was existing, well, at least existing socially and in my world. And we still used old-fashioned televisions, which is this thing. I made it on Art Academy. And yeah, the thing I was telling, that you always tend to step out of what you're doing and look at it and then feel somehow unconnected from it. The same can happen when you're looking at the artwork, or you see people and they travel to a place they always wanted to visit, and then they're there and they're trying to make a photograph, so they stand before it, and it looks kind of awkward, like they want to put the experience in the photograph, but the photograph isn't the experience, and standing there isn't the experience. And I got always irritated when I was making a work. I also wanted to unmake the work or ruin it again, like you take people with you and bring them into a new world or a new vision. And then I thought, okay, how we experience this new vision together had nothing to do with what I did. It was in the interaction. So I want people to realize this. So the word, like, I want to destruct the work itself again, so they realized like their memory is theirs, like they felt connected or they did something. And so what I did here is, normally you look at a work of art and it's unmoving, or it may move, but if the work of art would be that eye, you would be in front of a television looking at the eye, and you see it as a passive object. You don't feel watched back. But then this was installed in a long hallway in a wall, and the screen was a big black screen, so it doesn't really work like this. But then you don't see it, but I carry the television, I carry it to go with the eye movement, and this way this eye becomes something active. So when you would stand in front of the work, you feel watched too, like, because it's making an extra movement. And I think this is what happens in AR or social AR. Like, the end result is just a picture again. Like, there's nothing AR about looking at a picture on Instagram. But the thing that happens when people start using the effect, and you think, what does my face do? And you know, you get that is the part which is interesting, and where something is happening, and so that's what I was always already looking for, and why I like so much discovering AR. Like, here is a AR version. It's not the same work as before, but it's a little bit like it. Like, I try to make really simple work because it gives people, you know, joy and discovery. They move their eye and they have an immediate effect. Like anything you do on the internet often, you feel very passive. Like like in the beginning of the internet, maybe it was a little bit less. You felt like you have to produce for the internet, but now it feels like you have to consume from it. And people get happy just like we start making selfies because we don't want to feel so disembodied, so we do things like this, but it doesn't help. But in the end, just seeing your movement having an effect on what's happening on the phone screen, this can give some feeling of power and joy and fun. So this is what I'm trying with these kind of simple works. This one was installed at, it's just the Instagram effect, but it was also at the Cinekid Festival, so children could use this live and be in a film. Yeah, I did try to make some kind of a presentation in it, so I'm reading this now, seeing what constitutes an interaction. Yeah, that, like what I was saying, often, here I put technology and design, often when you think from there, you think about, okay, what are we going to give the people? How are we going to give them, yeah, life? Like, how are they going to feel at home in what I'm making? And it's too big a question. Nobody can answer it. So instead they ask, what choices can we give them? Like, they can push this button or this button. They can do this or this. And so we get many effects. And you can have 1,000 choices. You can choose your hair. You can choose like how you can make your avatar. But it keeps feeling disembodied because, you know, you are making this marionette or like this puppet, which is not you. And it's a very small choice between different colors of hair. It doesn't connect at all with anything in your life, most likely. So, and lately there's, yeah, I've had more communications with companies making, yeah, visions for the future and of mixed reality and this type of stuff, and often I miss these aspects where it's about how you use people's creativity, the user's creativity, how they can, you know, decide what they want to do and not be like they're in a game where you don't really have choices. I mean, this is good enough when you play a game, which is cool and you want to relax, but it's not how you want to, you know, how you want your whole life to be. So and this is an old work where the two faces, I'm using a book there, but people could use it together, and their faces got mixed, but they didn't swap their faces, but they just get mixed up because I like to have an interaction end somewhere new instead of just switching place or something like this. Okay, this is, oh, the sound is not working, well, it doesn't matter. This is very long, so it can be in the background. This was very popular on TikTok, how it goes on TikTok, that sometimes all of a sudden something is very popular. But it's a bit of a joke. I'm making yeah, a whole world with the headset on. So I'm making all the different materials, and it goes on for minutes and minutes, and then I build my own hut from it. And of course, it was funny to see because so many people on TikTok get angry about it because they think, you can do that in real life, why are you doing that? And it was sort of the point. I mean, it was meant as a joke, but the nice thing about it when I was doing it, it's a lot of fun to do it. So that's what's double about it. And that's what I mean with when you are a designer or when you are a developer, you often don't realize you're not offering your users the same creativity you are using when making it, because it feels like it's there, yeah, like a miracle. We don't have a really working philosophy of what is creativity. It's like, you know when it happens between people or between you and a thought or a memory or whatever, but it's not something you can catch. So, but if you have this while designing your apps or whatever it is you're making, we often forget. It feels so fun to do it. Like this feels fun to do it, but like if I would now give this hut to somebody to sit in, I mean, would they ever? Of course not. It's ugly, and it makes no sense. So yeah. So the question is, what is happening in the metaverse? And it's not just, I'm not trying to find a solution, but I actually like the idea of metaverse because I studied philosophy and I hate the meta standpoint of view, and I hate that I think in a meta kind of way. I don't mean the company, but I mean like meta, like the actual word. And I hate that Meta is calling itself Meta because of it. But on the same way, maybe I should love it because it fits. It works out in the end. And But so I like to make like these type of videos where you switch avatar and real person, and you just you try to be a little bit like a child who is in the world, and you're first discovering your own hands. Or I'm just seeking, can you have actual real feelings? Can you have real experiences in even barren environments like this, where nothing is happening? And so, yeah, so I make a lot of work about that too. But then the question is always how to take control. I made this together with Beth and Balraj for a hackathon, and we were thinking about all the AR effects and how people could, we just wanted to show a literal way to take control of them. Like you can take the effect with your hands and switch them, and so you're a little bit more in control of the experience. But then I was thinking, normally we see AR is like, social AR is like a fun thing, like lights, and it doesn't really mean much, and people using different makeup, or they show themselves as a monster, or they try different colors, and it feels so light and meaningless. And I think this is what is the power of it. And then they're thinking there's going to be a grown-up thing now, which is mixed reality, and we're going to do much better, everything will be better, and they talk like they're going to make a whole civilization, which never worked out politically when countries try to do this, make something from zero. While in AR, we don't have zero, we have a lot. We have a lot of effects, and we've seen them used by billions of people in very creative ways, and they, so even how light they are and how meaningless, somehow it feels like they give much more control and room for creativity and for discovery and experimentation. So this is what I like about it, and I think this is where the developers of mixed reality landscapes and universes should really take some inspiration from. So this, for instance, is very simple. I don't feel like I made this. This is not a work, but this is just how a user can be creative now. They can use AI. Just put some prompts and you make the sweaters, you put it in AR and you have them on your body, and you don't need to know anything for it. It's really super simple to make, and like within a day you can have your own t-shirt, and it feels like people are a bit negative or scared about it because it's so random, like this thing randomly generates stuff and it's all true, but the randomness gives for me a little bit more creativity than some developer making this app and giving me the choice between 3 or 100 t-shirts, or it doesn't matter. It's the same as walking in a forest and you're surprised at what you find or what happens. It's not something that can be made beforehand. So this type of experiences or way to make stuff, you can actually then make it in physical life. I think this would be nice ways to think about how to organize the mixed reality. So I have even the tip, which is this. Like if you make an effect, like I'm doing the exact same thing as people are doing who use the effect. Like you move and you think what's happening, and I feel the same disorientation with my body because all of a sudden I have 2 bodies, or in many of effects it's like this. So this I want to also carry over when you make something with a team, like you think of a new app or program. Do you also think in this way? Like you have a lot of joy making it. Do you think about how you can make the people experience the same thing? So they won't consume it, but they can you double the experience in a way? I think that would be interesting to think about. The video starts a little bit slow. This is something completely different. This is meta again. I was thinking how to symbolize a world, how we can have a world of the future which is comprised of all these different experiences, and how you can we always want a symbol, and the people who use a different symbol, they're not part of the group, and it feels like an awkward way to work. And if we're going to have like a global communication system, which I see the metaphor is not so much like a Disney world, but more like a communication systems, which will be more and more encompassing. I think we have to find symbols or ways where one thing can mean many things, and we're not so afraid of it anymore. Like we get a little bit more playful with beliefs and things. So I made this, very literal literal symbol of it. This tree is going around. It's like a little bit like a dead old tree that became stone, and it has these windows that turn around it, and each window just shows a little part of the tree, and then in between it's just a mess of all the things together, like a noise. So then through every window it looks very different. So I was thinking that would be a way to imagine not one truth or one symbol, but a symbol for all our different views and communications. Oh, that was actually it. This is just people using effects, like my favorite effects, or which are most used by the people, are the effects like real simple, like you become 3 people, or something happens to your body, so you feel like you have to move. And this is what I like most, because generally you're not moving in front of the phone. So if it makes people move, it's I'm happy. So that was it, and I just had made these for the background because I thought maybe somebody has a question or wants to ask something, because I'm not sure if I was very clear on everything. But if you have a question.
What didn't you like about the word meta?
Sorry?
What don't you like about the meaning of meta?
What I didn't like, well, maybe because I studied philosophy and then it comes back over and over again. And when I was a teenager, I loved the word meta because it gave me a way to flee. Like I always tend to flee, like I want to see things from a distance. I don't want to really be in the experience all the time. Sometimes you want to, just contemplate. And I have that a lot, but it can also be kind of toxic, because you invent this way of seeing things from a distance, which isn't very real, like you made it up. And you can easily hide this fact, and that's what philosophers have been doing up till, I don't know, 17th, 18th century. With Kant it starts changing a little bit, because he makes a little bit more complex system. But before that, it was just too easy, like it's the matrix. And if we talk about metaverse, if you see people or companies talk about it, it sounds very much like a Cartesian philosophy, like very old-fashioned philosophy, like we are the people making it up, we are the mind, and then these other people, they're like the Lego. You don't think about what makes them human or what makes them creative. You just think of them, they are just waiting there to enter this world we're making, and then they're there and they just feel kind of, this is what it looks like mostly when people are meeting. They don't even have underbodies sometimes, or they're just these strange experiences. And but it's not completely the answer to your question anymore. But so what I don't like about meta is that it always gives a way to escape the conclusion. Like the conclusion mostly is that you don't know the answer, for instance, or there's 10 different answers and 10 different truths, and that is the real answer, but you want to escape from it, so you have to invent standpoints which makes you see better than other people. So you can say, no, this is the, and I don't like it. If somebody's telling me this is so-and-so, I immediately want to not think so. And it's an irritating habit, but it's also a nice habit because it gives me a way to see something different, because I didn't, before they were saying it's so and so, I didn't think about how the opposite would feel, and then I start practicing it. That's why I loved philosophy, because you can put on different hats when you dive into one philosopher or another. It's like, wow, such a big switch of perspective. So I don't hate the perspectives per se, but they cannot stand on their own. And meta always implies a little bit that one will be left in the end, like one company, one view, one. So this is why I don't like the word meta, but I love it too, as you can see. Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions? Or
How many effects have you made so far? It seems like you've done quite a few.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dozens?
A dozen?
Dozens or?
Yeah, I think hundreds.
Yeah, exactly.
But some are very fast. Like it's nice. It's like sketching. Like when I used to do more physical art, you're just also sketching in a book at night. And sometimes an AR effect is that. And that's also why I liked the AR, because when you finish a physical artwork, it's always like me with my mind, I'm making this and then showing it to the people. And with the AR, that kind of AR doesn't work. Like you make a whole finished effect and you think it's beautiful and nobody uses it because it looks smart. And I like to make geeky kind of things, so only other people who make AR think, oh, this is a cool invention, or so that would be nice, but it's not a nice effect if it's about people using it. Then sometimes you have something very simple and you were even maybe ashamed that it was too simple, but you put it online and then all of a sudden people are, millions of people are using it for reasons you could not imagine. And I think this is very interesting, new. I see art in it because it's about the people's experience and also not directing the people's experience so much. You're offering them like something random, like something you also may find in nature. So it's random, but it's not meaningless, but the meaning only exists at the moment it meets the user. And there's a lot of copy in it also, like one person uses it in a specific way and then a million other people do it the same way. I mean, there's that side too, and it's not so interesting. But I love it when an effect goes around and people use it in many different ways, like you see it used in religions, or I even see it used on Catholic priests and really a situation in which I did not imagine it, or at a funeral. I saw it used at a funeral. That was a bit creepy, but yeah, why not?
Did you make this yourself, or did you use tools to make it? Did you make the effect yourself, or did you use tools to?
I use tools. I have no. Why I liked social AR is because the few companies, Snapchat, Meta, and now TikTok, they made platforms for people in quite an easy way to start making these effects, and it's not so hard, and it's quite easy to get into and to become more technical. And it was the first time that I felt, as a non-coder, for instance, I could be creative in a digital app. Like you could make things in Blender or do this, but it's always a bit of a hassle. And with AR, you immediately had an effect, and you can work in a more visual way, which was what I was used to. And I'm noticing that many artists and people from all different backgrounds are in the social AR, and this is what I like, because we've met a lot of each other, and everybody's from somewhere else, and I think this makes it a fertile situation. And I'm a bit afraid we can lose it again, but I think this, how it feels often is the same as how it would feel in an art school. Like you have all different people and ideas together, and quite nice things come from it. The thing is that the companies are in between it, and they have their own ideas, and they not always realize that this is a valuable situation. But this is what I like, and it's because they make the software so easy to use and get into.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Gijs, for the great talk.
Thank you.